So good evening, dear friends. So happy to see everybody here. Welcome. I know we're starting a bit early. We still have a couple more minutes, but we thought it'd be nice to start with a couple of practice songs. David and I both practice in the Plum Village tradition, and in our tradition, it's quite customary to begin with just some practice songs. So as you guys probably see as you come in, there's some song sheets scattered about the room. I kind of put one for every 2 chairs, so feel free to share with a neighbor, or if there's one behind you that's not being used, feel free to scoop that up. So in the spirit of practicing mindfulness, we just need to be very aware that this is a practice of mindfulness as we're singing. It's not America's Got Talent. We're not trying to, if you have a beautiful singing voice, then we're really happy that you're here, actually. I don't necessarily have one. Mine is okay, it's mediocre, right? But the point, obviously, is to be practicing mindfulness, not to be sounding, super great. So as we're singing, just really be in touch with the resonance of your vocal cords. Allow that to anchor you in your body. Enjoy just that pleasurable sensation of your voice moving. I'm sure the first time we sing the first run through, you're not going to know the words or the melody, and so you maybe just catch a hum along kind of thing. And then we usually sing it 2 or 3 times. So usually after the second or third time, you guys will probably get the melody, and you're welcome and invited to join along. The songs are actually quite simple, so I'm sure you guys will pick it up pretty quick. But just as we do with any form of practice, we have usually something that we're focusing on, and in this case, we're focusing on just being present in our body and feeling what it feels like to be speaking such beautiful words that were very carefully crafted and chosen. And if we're really lucky, the melody will get stuck in your heads and you'll get to benefit from them for the next few weeks and maybe months to come. I'll help you come back to the present moment for the days ahead. So let's start with a great arrival song. Number 4 is a good arrival song, since we're all physically here, but it's, takes some time still to arrive fully in the present moment. So hopefully this song will help us drop in here. So again, for anyone who didn't hear, we're in song number 4 on the front. I have arrived, I am home, in the here and in the now. I have arrived, I am home, in the here and in the now. I am solid, I am free, I am solid, I am free. In the ultimate I dwell, in the ultimate I dwell. I have arrived, I am home, in the here and in the now. I have arrived, I am home, in the here and in the now. I am solid, I am free, I am solid, I am free. In the ultimate I dwell, in the ultimate I dwell. All right, that's nice. It's a good start, guys. Well done. All right. Cool. All right. So the next song we'll do is number 5. It's also quite a simple song, and it's also a great guided meditation. So as you are maybe at some point in time and by yourself or with a group at home, you can use this as a guided meditation for yourself and others. Like in, out, I'm aware, breathing in and out. And then after a while, the next line goes deep, slow. I'm aware my breath is getting deeper and slower, all by itself, without even trying to control it. It just naturally calms down. The third line, calm, ease. We're just calming, feeling more calm. And we're taking things more easily. We're feeling more ease. And smile and release. We can smile and release all of our thoughts of the future or the past, all the stress, all the worries, let go of everything. And the last line, present moment, wonderful moment. It's very clearly obvious that we're just at that point now, free from all of these entanglements, and we're able to dwell happily in the present moment. And what a wonderful moment this is. Okay. And deep, slow, calm, ease, smile, relief, present moment, wonderful moment. Out, deep, slow, calm, ease, smile, release, present moment, wonderful moment. One more song, right? And we'll hopefully have some time at the end to do a couple more. So song number 2 is a really beautiful one. This actually used to be a song that I used to sing to my son as a lullaby when he was a baby. So we can kind of sing that to the inner baby within ourselves. Breathing in, I go back to the island within myself. There are beautiful trees within the island. There are clear streams of water. There are birds, sunshine, and fresh air. Breathing out, I feel safe. I enjoy going back to my island. Breathing in, I go back to the island within myself. There are beautiful trees within the island. There are clear streams of water. There are birds, sunshine, and fresh air. Breathing out, I feel safe. I enjoy going back to my
Thank you, Nick, for the lullaby songs. You're ready to fall asleep, that's okay. We're just gonna begin with a 5-minute kind of settling, arriving meditation. So as we're practicing, listening to those songs, as Nick was sharing, they're not just songs, they're actually reminders for us to practice. So I've arrived at home. This is the spirit of our first practice here. We're just going to take 5 minutes to allow our body, our mind to settle into this room, into this new space. Letting go of the long day, whether it's a work day or more of a play day. So letting the busyness busyness of the day, the busyness of traffic, all kind of fall down. We come back home to ourselves, come back home to this present moment, coming back to our inner kingdom, our body, our thoughts, our feelings. And just noticing the miracle of our breathing, the safe island of our breathing. When you notice that sensations of your breathing are the most pleasant, I invite you to let your attention rest there. good evening again, everyone. We're going to save the introductions for a little bit later, as your kind of tradition. And I wanted to allow us to settle in a little bit before I give a little bit more instructions in the next meditation. The next meditation is going to be a loving kindness meditation that's focused on forgiveness. So this is a meditation that I do somewhat regularly, that we do at Greatwoods. And I'd like to give just a couple minutes of instruction because I think it's valuable to practice in a way that is healing for us. That it's, I'm inviting people. There's a series of contemplations, and I want to invite people to choose a contemplation that feels safe for us, that feels like that is appropriate for our current kind of state of our mind and body, and in the space that we're in. We're not usually doing a forgiveness meditation in this kind of format. We don't, do like a 10 out of 10 of like our worst kind of like villain of our life, right? And the worst trauma. We kind of pick something that's like medium level, something that works, that we feel like we can embrace now. And maybe it can be a little bit uncomfortable. It's really up to us to kind of choose. And with the forgiveness meditation, I want to kind of remind us that it's actually we're not trying to arrive at a certain feeling, but it's more of a quality of intention that we're really kind of planting seeds in our consciousness. We're allowing space for forgiveness to arise and to manifest naturally. We trust our bodies and our minds to know when that time is. We're not forcing it. It's more of a kind of stating intentions and opening space to allow what wants to come forward. It's a very kind of non-violent way of doing forgiveness, where we trust in the organic nature of our mind and our heart to be able to release and unfold things very naturally with kindness. And forgiveness is kind of like a very deep letting go. And it's a letting go that doesn't condone behavior. It's a letting go that is it's been embraced deeply enough, and it now can release. And we don't have to carry the burden of the pain. And it can be for kind of big things, but it also can be, there's a lot of, the forgiveness meditation really works in like our own kind of inner psyche. Maybe there's judgments or shame or blame, towards ourselves. And that could be a very kind of important part or powerful part of the practice. So I just wanted to share that to start. And now we're going to kind of move into our second meditation. And this will last for about 25 minutes. So I'll start again with 3 sounds of breath. So I invite us to begin this meditation with testing the body. Stay with the breath in the body for several minutes, and then we'll move into the loving kindness contemplation. Invite us to become aware of the contact of our bodies with the floor, the earth, Mother Earth. Our feet or legs touching the floor, legs above on our seat or cushion, back of the chair. Just notice yourself kind of grounding, connecting with someone. Feeling her stability and strength under us. Let's move through our body. Bringing that awareness up to our both of our legs. Guiding our legs to relax. To our arms, becoming aware of our arms. Bring our arms relax. Being aware of my two arms. Breathing out, smile to my two arms, letting them relax. Being aware of our back, lower back, our spine, reaching up tall. Relax. And relaxing the back. Aware of our shoulders and noticing any tension that may be in our shoulders. My shoulders, any tension in my shoulders. Breathing out, letting that tension just roll off of our shoulders. Sliding off our shoulders like water. Aware of my forehead, my eyes, relaxing my forehead and my aware of all the muscles deep in our eye sockets, our right eye, our left eye. And aware, beautiful of the two eyes, these two precious gems. Right? And breathing out, I relax, release tension in the two eyes. Aware of our cheeks and our jaw, relaxing the tongue. Becoming aware of our whole face and scalp. And I'm aware of my scalp. Breathing out, allow my scalp to soften, relax. No need for anything additional. Down to our heart space, our chest. Just noticing whether there's tension in there or it's relaxed or feels pleasant or unpleasant or neutral. Just allowing whatever state that our heart space is in right now. Feel very calm, feel more. Whatever's there, just allow. Breathing in, I'm aware condition of my heart space in this moment. Breathing out, let my heart space to soften. Mind its own way and time. Moving down to the abdomen, upper abdomen, lower abdomen. Again, just noticing, just witnessing if there's some tension. Or if it feels kind of numb, or feels pleasant or unpleasant. Just honoring whatever state that our abdomen is in right now. Whether it feels tight, anxious, or more relaxed. Letting our abdomen belly be exactly as it is in this moment. with our kind awareness, inviting our abdomen to relax or at least soften. Inviting it to soften, just give no touch. Its own way in time. Without changing or trying to control anything, just noticing the sensations that our abdomen is experiencing as we breathe and breathe out. Again, wherever you notice that the sensations of your breathing are the most pleasant, maybe in your abdomen, or in your chest, or throat, or nostrils, allowing your attention to stay there, breathing in, to become aware of the fresh air entering my lungs and my whole body. Breathing out, I'm aware of the soothing, relaxing sensations of my upper. Breathing in fresh air, breathing out soothing, relaxing. Notice your mind is wandering, it naturally does. You can very patiently and lovingly bring our attention back to the sensations of our breathing. And as we stay with the breathing, we notice that the breathing goes deeper, deeper into our lungs and abdomen. As we breathe out, the breath becomes slower, very naturally. Breathing in deep, breathing out slow. Deep, slow. Now, invite us to expand our awareness. As we breathe in, to be aware of our whole body. As if every cell in our body is breathing in. Every cell of our body is being turned on. The light switch being turned on. Breathing in and aware, whole body sitting here. Breathing out, I invite my whole body to relax. Letting all the cells in my body to relax. getting the body to relax in its own. Being aware of the relaxing. Invite us to smile to our whole body. Doesn't have to be a broad smile. It's a gentle half smile. Slight curve in the lips. Just noticing the fact that a gentle half smile has on your face, on the muscles of your project. Breathing in, I smile to my body. Can smile to our joy. Can also smile to our suffering. And breathing out, I release tension, releasing all tension. Breathing, smiling, breathing out, releasing. If we notice our mind more, it's normal, that's a mindfulness and breathing out, bringing our attention back to the present moment. Moving into the loving kindness contemplation. And I'll offer a phrase that if you like, you can say to yourself silently, or some amended version of this. If I I've ever hurt someone, hurt or harmed someone, whether knowingly or unknowingly, whether intentionally or unintentionally. I ask for understanding and forgiveness. Perhaps these may be images or memories or thoughts. Just allow them to be in the meditation. Just honoring whatever, offering our intention to forgive. If I've ever hurt or harmed anyone or anything, whether knowingly or unknowingly, I ask for forgiveness. I ask for understanding. I know this conversation. If anything has ever hurt or harmed you, whether knowingly or unknowingly, intentionally or unintentionally, I offer them understanding and forgiveness. If anyone has ever hurt or harmed you, or whether knowingly or unknowingly, I offer them my understanding and forgiveness. letting go of this contemplation. Just being aware of our being on the state of the body and feelings. During contemplation. If I've ever hurt or harmed myself, unknowingly, not intentionally, I offer myself understanding and forgiveness. If I've ever hurt or harmed myself, whether knowingly or unknowingly, I offer myself understanding and forgiveness. It's learned to feel this contemplation in our own body. What is alive in the body. This contemplation. Just returning to our island of our body. Our breathing. Hiding in our island. And honoring whatever is alive in us. Soaking it in this last minute of time. Savoring this quiet practice as a community. going to relax our posture and massage, and then offer some continued kindness to our body.
Oh, hey. So good to see everybody tonight. So what a treat for our Sangha to have the Greatwoods Zen Retreat Sangha Center with us tonight. In lieu of an introduction, they're gonna introduce themselves, but we get to just welcome them and kind of rejoice that our Sanghas have our friends. So that these guys are on the other side of Charlotte, on this beautiful land that they welcome us to come and participate in their programs, and we will be offering some of our own retreats there. So that's exciting. And so David showed up here last April, is it? He was brand new to Charlotte. He came here to help open and to develop the community in Greatwoods. And he came to check out what's going on in Charlotte, and he came here, one of the first places. And I happened to be leading that night, and we became friends. And so this is almost a year. We're kind of old friends. So this is David, this is Victor, and Nick, and they're all guests and new friends for all of us. So why don't we just do a deep bow? Thank you. We're so happy.
Thank you, Debbie. Debbie was my first friend here in Charlotte. We met after meditation, and I came to the intro and she was leading it, and then she invited me to walk around Freedom Park. And it was my first time at Freedom Park, and walked around, and I was like, Charlotte sounds so good. Thank you for welcoming us, Debbie. So we're gonna introduce each other. And then we're gonna kind of share a little bit more like what are we doing up here and what are we sharing. So okay. So on my left is Nick. So we're in the Greatwoods Zen Sangha. And so Greatwoods Zen is like a piece of beautiful forest and pond over on the east side of Hickory Grove. And we've been practicing there since like around April. And yeah, slowly growing our beloved community. And so Nick, when Nick knew I was coming here, we talked about it, and Nick was like, I'm in. So he came. At the time, he was living in Prague, actually, in Czech Republic. And so he flew over here to come to Charlotte. Like, wow, Prague. And I was so happy to be here. I was overjoyed. I was like, yes, I don't have to do it alone. And not just that, Nick is like Sangha Builder, like 2.0. He is awesome, and he's been one of the best friends of my whole life. He loves sharing about mindful singing. If you haven't noticed, you come to Greatwoods Zen, you'll get it in his songs. He's got a lot more songs to share. And Nick is working out as the executive director of Greatwoods Zen, the Zen Center. And Nick has a 7-year-old son, and Nick is one of the deepest parts of the practice is being with his son. It's very, very touching and very powerful. The way he shares his practice with his son. And to my right here is Victor. Now Victor and I met on the first day of mindfulness we had at Greatwoods Ed, and I was so touched because it was new space. Victor during our Dharma sharing circle, Victor shared with a combination of deep joy and deep vulnerability, and I could really feel the compassion and humility and vulnerability in Victor's heart, and it's been like that ever since. I consider Victor one of my closest friends here that I could always come to, or he's a source of refuge for me and our grandkids. And one thing, Victor's also got a couple kids, so we got a couple dads up on stage. And Victor's kids are amazing athletes. They're only like 9, 11 years old. But if you want to see any amazing soccer goals or football touchdowns, at the slightest provocation, he will share lots of videos with you. And Victor's he's an author, so he's written a couple books about, I would say, the gist of it is spiritual practice, meditation, and art, artistic creative expression is a very powerful and deep vehicle for healing trauma and bringing joy, trauma within, trauma relationships. So I feel so grateful that Victor and Nick here, because Debbie invited me to come speak, and I was like, wow, I'm part of the Sangha, and I'd like to be coming here with as a Sangha, as these are my brothers, and that makes me feel very supported, because that kind of gets into like the theme of our topic tonight. Share like minutes here. That gets into the theme of our introduction or of our sharing tonight. And that it's about the reason why we're here together is that we practice as a community. And I'm not here I don't practice alone. I practice very deeply in community. And without the community, we don't really have much of practice, actually. The three of us are in a men's Sangha. It's a men's racial affinity Sangha. So it's a Sangha for, and that's not only Greatwoods. Greatwoods isn't only just for white men. Just to be clear. It's just once a month we gather together as a men's Sangha, a Sangha of white men, and we come together with the intention for racial healing and supporting each other and to embracing each other and studying their teachings, transforming racism within ourselves. And so tonight we're going to be sharing about, I felt almost like our last thing is we're sharing about racial healing and in community. And so you may be like, whoa, there's 3 white guys up there right now sharing about race. Wow, I feel scared. I don't know, maybe you feel scared or maybe not. But I think it's rare for white men to be sharing about race. And so we're very aware of our racial identities that we're up here. And when we first came in, I was thinking wow, I wonder what people are thinking. There's 3 white guys on stage. Now we're even talking about race. Wow, I'd rather than talk about anything else like death and dying or something. And because race, just even sharing about racism, it's a very charged topic. It's a very, I can feel my own nervous system kind of filled with a lot of anxiety. And Nick was going to share about that. Actually, sorry. But we practice in the Sangha together and we support each other. And so that's what each of us are going to share a little bit about. I want to give a little shout out to Ruth King because we're here partly because I was reading Ruth's book, Mindful Grace. And partly because I knew it was coming to Charlotte, so I was like, I should read Ruth's books, and she lives in Charlotte. And it really inspired that practicing to heal and embrace racism as a kid, it doesn't have to be apart from the practice of Sangha, of community, and the Dharma. And so that really inspired us at Greatwoods, and right from the beginning to start a group, to try to start a group, because Nick and I and Roger, who is on the part of the founding, he's the owner of the land and part of one of the founders of Greatwoods, and we're all three white men, right? So like, how can we come to a new place and attempt to offer like peace and healing to the land and to the community here as white men if we're not even embracing like the seeds of suffering and racism and patriarchy within ourselves? And we felt like that was the best place to start. Although it wasn't easy to start, actually. It took us quite a while to actually get enough people to actually commit. You know, it took time. It was hard actually to start. It was very hard. There was a lot of no's. Like, can you imagine like me going up and asking people, we're going to start a race group. It's for white men only. You want to be part of it? Right. I'm good. I'm good. There was a lot of kind of skepticism and discomfort. But eventually, we had a core group with me, Nick and Victor, and then slowly people started kind of gaining more confidence and trust in what we were attempting to do, which is bridge the Dharma, the teachings of the Buddha, with our community practice, with the kind of holding the seeds of kind of racism and patriarchy in together and letting that be our vehicle of transformation. So just wanted to give a little bit of an overview of that now before we kind of dive a little bit deeper, and each of us are going to share. So I'm going to hand it over to Nick and Victor, and then each of us will have a chance to share. So thank you so much for being here and for being so open to us sharing tonight, and for welcoming us into your beloved community, such a rich community here. And I feel very grateful to be here and to share about this this topic, this very topic you just made us, and here we are sharing about racial healing. Thank you for your trust, and thank you, Debbie, for welcoming us. And I wanted to just share, like, before we present further, like, just to offer gratitude to the land, the land here, and all the people, the many generations of people, the Catawba people, particularly, who have taken care of this land for so long in such a precious way, such a beautiful piece of earth, of Mother Earth. Thank you to everyone at Greatwoods who supports us. Thank you to my entire expert that supported me today. And
thank you so much for a beautiful introduction, David. And I was supposed to introduce David before he introduced me, so now I'm a little like, I guess I'll do that later. David will speak a little bit more later, so I guess it makes more sense to do it at that point. Going off of what David was just saying, he did approach me at some point in the past and said, "Hey, I think we should start a men's group with racial healing." And the first reaction actually was one of, I'm really busy, And it wasn't like coming from a place of like dismissiveness. It was really like I was feeling pretty overwhelmed in my life. I had a lot going on. Coming from Prague, being married for 10 years with my wife, and kind of our relationship being a bit in a rocky spot. And then moving out here, and then my son was going to live there for another year. And then they were supposed to move here this summer. And so, but I've been at that point was feeling a little worried that, maybe she's not going to come, our relationship isn't so strong right now. Our marriage is at its weakest point. So I was really nervous, and I was really kind of focused on a lot of that kind of stuff. It's like, I don't know if I really have the energy to be able to focus on something like this. It feels like it needs a lot more focus and attention, and I don't know if I'm really ready to commit to doing that. And, we let it sit. I mean, David's right, it took a while. And after some time, I started to kind of let it sink into my heart. And that's how I was starting to feel, and we met, and I was able to share with the men, it's like, wow, I look back with so much, like a little bit of shame and regret now, I was like, wow, what a privilege it is for me to be able to say, oh, this isn't a priority right now, And a lot of people don't have that, you know? A lot of people don't get to wake up and go, oh, this isn't an issue that I worry about work on today. So that really helped me put myself in check and go, you know what, if not now, when? When is the best time? And it's now. You know, in the heart of our teacher, Thich Nhat Hanh, he was offering us a gift in some of his words, and I'm not going to quote him verbatim, but basically he was saying, like, we can't run away from our suffering. It's just only going to create more suffering. And there's so much trauma and suffering around race in our country. And that's one of the main reasons I moved here. One of the reasons I moved here was I really didn't understand the suffering of the people of Czech Republic, nor did I speak the language that well. I tried. It's a hard language. But here, I'm in touch with what it means to be in this country. I'm in touch with what it means to be in touch with the pain of the people of this country. I've grown up, you know, as you know, a white male with a school with like mostly white people, and you know, and I would say somewhat upper middle class type of family, and I didn't have much exposure to people of color, and you know, the more I look back on my childhood, I feel really sad. I feel really sad that I was so segregated from the whole community. When I moved here to Charlotte, I was looking at schools for my son. And I started looking into, of course, I want to be a good dad, so I'm looking for all the best schools. And I was shocked. The segregation is still alive and well. So many schools, like 97% white, 98% white, 96% white. I'm like, how is this still happening? I went to one of those schools. No, I don't want my son to go to one of those schools. I want my son to go to a school where it reflects the diversity of our culture and of our country. How is this? It was shocked. So yeah, I want to be a part of that solution. I'm going to read this one paragraph from Ruth's book, Mindful of Race. Something alarming happens when we think or hear the word racism. Something deep within us is awakened into fear. All of us, regardless of our race and our experience of race, get triggered, and more than the moment is at play. That word picks at an existential scab, some level of dis-ease at the mere insinuation of the word, some itch that we can't seem to scratch, or some fear we believe will harm us. This activation happens to all of us. Regardless of how we look on the outside, we turn into frightened combatants and suit up for war. The heart quakes and the mind narrows to its smallest, tightest place, survival. Whether or not we're conscious of it, we all tend to go to our weapon of choice: aggression, distraction, denial, doubt, worry, depression, or indifference. That kind of gets to the heart of now why I'm in this men's group at Greatwoods. I want to remove all of those triggers within myself. When the word race or racism comes up, I don't want to go into one of those categories. I want to try to do my best to become mindful of what's going on inside me and to be able to have a space where I can share openly about what's really been my experience as a white male. So that way I can embrace my own suffering, and that will in turn allow me to embrace the suffering of other people. So yeah, I don't want to resort to those things anymore. I want to remove those things within myself. I want to be able to do that for my son. I want to create a culture and a society where we're creating peace and harmony and health and well-being. That's the heart of our practice. So yeah, I'm incredibly grateful, and I'm so touched that David has invited us to do this. I feel like it really strikes at the heart of what we're trying to do at Greatwoods, but I think just, you know, as people. yeah, I'm pretty sad to share that actually since I moved here just a few months ago, my wife told me that she decided that she does not want to move here. And now we're talking about how to go about handling divorce and how to share custody across an ocean. And so it's put in focus my relationship with my son more than ever. And to me, that's really my mantra lately. It's what is best for my son. It's kind of what I keep coming back to again and again and again. Before I speak with my wife, if I'm feeling upset or angry about something she said or did, or maybe something from the past, or maybe my hopes and ambitions from the future, I go, is going into this conversation with her, with this in my heart, what's best for my son? And just the other day, I was talking to him, and we've told him now that he and my wife are likely not going to be moving here in the summer. And for a little 7-year-old boy, it's not an easy thing for him to process. And I was able to tell him, look, we've talked about this some time now, and I noticed that whenever I bring up the topic, you tend to get a little squirrely on the phone, and you want to like share your screen of some random video, or do something that takes away. And I just wanted to acknowledge that this is a hard topic. This is a heavy thing to feel, and it's not an easy thing to process. And that this is what I see that you do when I bring it up. And he's like, yeah, that's true. That's what I feel. I said, wow, well, I just want you to know I'm here for you. Whatever you're going through, whatever pain you're feeling, whatever sadness or loneliness you might be experiencing, just know that I'm always going to be here for you. And if it's not me, if you don't feel comfortable, if it's too hard, it's too heavy, please try to find somebody who you can talk to. The reason I'm sharing this in the context of healing racism is racism gets to the heart of what it means to be a human being. If we're human, we're going to be experiencing pain and suffering, emotions, thoughts, insecurities, all these things. And I want to train my son, I want to prepare him for being able to show up for himself and to be able to take refuge in the community. If I can do that, then there's hope that he can be a part of the healing that we need in this country. And I am excited that at some point in the future, it might not be in the next few years, but maybe once he's finished elementary school, he will come and live with me, I'm hoping. And that that's his choice and what he wants. I just want to share one last thing. It's that in our group, what I just shared in the last meeting, it seems to be really deep in my heart. What I want to cultivate in our group is really like radical acceptance. It's really the core of where I'm going. And I told the other men, I'm like, you know what? Bring it. Whatever you need to bring. I'm here. And of course, I'm going to experience judgment. I'm not a Buddha. I don't think any of us are saints that I know of. And a judgment's going to come up. And I just wanted you to know that my judgment is going to be there, but I'm going to hold it tenderly with my heart. And I'm going to allow that space for us to embrace all of our judgment and all of our fear and all of our insecurities. Whatever it is that we feel like we need to share, it's on the table. And I want to make this a place where we can really open up and be real and be present and current. Because really, if we aren't, we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. So, but I just wanted to share a little taste of what it's like at Greatwoods and what we do. This is the kind of work we're doing. This is just one group. We have many different types of groups. We, of course, have our weekly day of practice on Saturdays from 10 until 12:45. No plug. But we are expanding our programming. We have lots of people coming, especially in the recovery community. I have my experience in 12-step programs for the last 21 years. And we're trying to invite, people who practice like a recovery Dharma community is coming and starting a weekly practice soon. And we have of course retreats coming up, which we'll mention later during that. Right. I think I'm gonna end my share here and pass it over to my brother Victor.
It's really great to be here. My meditation journey is a bit different from what David and Nick shared. But before I get into that, I just want to say thank you for welcoming us here and me personally here. Most of my meditation experience has been in solitude. And it was used as a way of healing myself from different traumas, childhood traumas, as well as compassion burnout. I'm a physical therapist. I worked in nursing homes throughout the country for about 17 years, and seeing the suffering that exists in nursing homes, I hit walls, emotional walls, spiritual walls, just and in 2015, I realized I need to do something different. And I began meditating very regularly on my own. And little by little, I'd find different groups here. I'm originally from New York, and I was part of a sangha in New York for a little while, but never really felt a part of the sangha. It was still my own practice. And it's still always be moving my practice, but coming to Greatwoods, it's been about, I guess, coming up to a year. April will be a year. It's been incredibly transformative because the energy that's in the collective is incredible. And after doing it for 7 years consistently on my own, to be a part of a group that is so dedicated it just takes it to another level. And I love the beauty of Greatwoods, the ability to walk the grounds, the forest, and the pond. And the people are incredible. And I love the ability to look inward for the meditation. And then have the opportunity to share what's real in that moment with the other people who are also meditating. There's something very powerful about that. I've always been someone who rehearsed a lot in my head. A lot of rehearsing what I can say. And in that environment, there is no rehearsing. It's just what's real within me in that moment, what I experienced in the meditation, what I'm going through with family, whatever came up in that moment, in those moments of meditation. So I love it there, and I'm grateful to be a part of this group. And I'm, again, grateful to be here because I've never been in an environment, I had the experience and opportunity to share in front of a group of people my experience with meditation. So, like Nick was saying about the group, the other group, the men's group, which is one particular part of what we do at Greatwoods. Coming from New York, I was used to being amongst many different races, religions. I was just used to it. And my wife was a New York City police officer for 20 years. So she was in the thick of it in a lot of different neighborhoods, and she'd come home, a lot of different interesting experiences. But what I didn't realize until I started this group was I was ignorant about a lot of the things that I was assuming about myself in relation to other races. I wasn't really aware of the responsibility as a white male to heal what people of my racial ancestry, my color, my gender have done. And it's hard to look at. I went into the group assuming, I got a handle on this. I've been around different races my whole life, but different experiences taught me otherwise. And it's forced me to look further inward. And to me, that's what meditation is all about. It's just continuing to look inward and uncover the parts of yourself that perhaps you never wanted to look at, didn't know were there. That's the hardest part, I think, of meditation. It's not all blissful and peaceful and joyful. There's that, it's beautiful, but it's also suffering, denial, memories, experiences from years ago that you didn't realize were there. So meditation has been a vehicle, and like David said, writing, art has been a vehicle, just continuing to dig and find how to bring forth the compassion and the kindness towards myself first and towards others, because that can be hard. To forgive, to move past judgment, to acknowledge judgment within myself, and move towards understanding. And one of the beautiful concepts that Thich Nhat Hanh talks about is interbeing. And we live in a culture that's very grounded in independence. And I also come from a very codependent childhood. So that was very murky. So the concept of interbeing is just pretty incredible. Of just my suffering is your suffering, and your suffering is my suffering. I think that ties in completely with racism. So I'll stop here. But I want to thank you again for welcoming us here and allowing me to speak, allowing us to be part of your group. And I hope to see some of your faces at our Sangha in the future. It's a beautiful place, trust me. Thank you.
Long-awaited introduction. I'll keep it short. Yeah, just being mindful of the time. So I just really want to say that David is one of my best friends. He was the best man at my wedding, and when I found this practice, he was there facilitating a wake-up sangha, which is for young mindfulness practitioners in San Diego, where I'm from. He's from Southern California as well. And I was really blown away by his ability to hold space and to build Sangha. And really, ever since then, that's all he's really been doing. He's been building Sangha and building community for decades. And what I love about David the most is he is able to be present and see qualities in people and touch them in a way that helps people bloom in that way. We call him a master flower waterer. And David's currently writing a book actually about building community in Sangha. I think he's just submitted his last edit, if I'm not mistaken. And we're really excited to see this published and see how it manifests in our society and how it might impact our greater community in helping to build our communities stronger and healthier. So I think that's about it. Now there's more, of course, but I mean, I think it's also kind of important to mention that David used to be a monk, actually. Maybe some of you guys don't know that, but like he actually was a monastic in Thich Nhat Hanh's Plum Village tradition for a while. And he's been a member of the Order of Interbeing, which is part of Thich Nhat Hanh's close group of followers who practice these 14 mindfulness trainings and are committed to building community. And he has been doing this practice for maybe more than 20 years that I know of. Yeah, probably more. So without further ado, here's my take on it.
So we get a few minutes left after the introduction. Oh, sorry. I love getting this introduction right before we end. I'd like to just share a little bit about our practice in the men's Sangha and yeah, this kind of marrying of the Dharma and the Sangha with teachings on racial healing. It's been every time we gather in the men's Sangha, I look around at my brothers and I just feel so grateful. I feel so much respect and gratitude for their presence because I know that they're there and it supports me to go deeper. It supports me to embrace what I've wanted to embrace for so long. I knew I've been, like Sangha building for about 20 years and I knew there was something missing. I knew there was something missing until I read this book. And it was like, wow, the kind of keys were unlocked. It's like, yes, we can do this as a Sangha. We can embrace each other. I can depend on my brothers, on my white brothers also. Because a lot of times I'm used to, if I have like questions or kind of a burden, like about understanding something about race, or like a racial interaction, I'll lean a lot on my siblings, like my practitioner siblings of color, and leaning a lot on them to kind of help me process because often they have the wisdom and the compassion to know how to navigate these. And holding with each other, it's been really tremendous. I have felt a deep sense of power that actually I don't have to despair about racism in the world, or I don't have to despair that I can't help anymore. Because oftentimes I feel like there's this question of like, how do I help? Or can I help? Can I do anything? It's just so big. But being here and practicing this way, it's like, oh no, we can heal it right in the heart of our very lives, right in our community with each other, and we can support each other. We can trust our suffering. Each of us has, I consider each of us has a fair amount of kind of garbage internally of racism, discrimination, and racial bias. And it's things that actually create compassion. But each of us has our own kind of the seeds of suffering that we received from our ancestors, from our land ancestors, from our blood ancestors, maybe our spiritual ancestors. And to be able to each time we gather to share our reflection, share our suffering in the group, it allows that suffering, that compost to be very exposed and to be embraced together. Yeah. I think most of us in the room, we would agree that we appreciate, celebrate, and want to support more diversity in our community, in our Sangha, among our friends. But how do we do that? Do we feel like we're able to do that? Are we able to bring more diversity into our Sangha? If I ask you to raise your hands, like, who supports diversity in Sangha? Everyone raise your hand. Probably some social pressure, but and we want that, but can we do it? Do we feel we're able to do that? It's who am I? It's like this question, like, who am I to be able to do that? Who am I to be able to bring more diversity and inclusiveness into Sangha? Oftentimes, like for me being a white presenting person, I'm Chinese American. My grandmother's full-blooded Chinese. I have all the racial kind of privilege of a white person. And throughout my life, I thought, okay, it's the practitioner of color. They're able to bring more diversity. It's quite a big burden to carry. It's a lot on someone's shoulders to carry. And my experience is that diversity is wonderful, but that's not actually where the real work happens. Actually, most of the work to create a more diverse Sangha, in my experience, it's about creating more safety and inclusiveness in the community. That it's a very welcoming, a warm place where people feel safe. And how do we build a more safe and inclusive community? It begs the question, am I being safe and inclusive in myself? Yeah, and as I ask that question, I feel my heart pounding because I know there's a lot of aspects of myself that are not being seen, that are still healing, that ask for healing. that want to be included, that want to be embraced. And if I can slowly, consistently embrace what I'm healing in myself, then I really create a more safe environment for myself, and in my family, and my friends. Right? Yeah. And it's really hard to do that work alone. Really hard. No, we can do a little, we can do some. But as a community, we can embrace it. I had this recognition the other day. I'll share one. I don't know if you guys pass, is that okay? Okay. Okay. So I had this experience the other day where I was recognizing that there's a lot of parts of my own racial identity of being white that I don't like. I noticed I'm just like really coming into like this awareness of like kind of hating on my own racial identity. And the habits of my past, the habits now, like the tendencies of white centering or of white savior complexes. So like different, I'm not gonna explain all these terms, but of privilege and seeing and like being a member of like this white kind of culture, white kind of this white tribe, and seeing like, wow, I feel uncomfortable with these parts of myself, and that part of me doesn't like that. Also, part of me wishes I was something else. When I first came to Greatwoods, I was like, I really hope to build a very diverse someday. And I was like, God, but just being like a white man, I wonder if people will feel safe with me actually. Will I be able to do that? I had this like aversion, like I kind of wish I wasn't like a white man. And then I was really reflecting on that, owning that, I feel a little almost I was owning that and be like, wow, like if I like not being comfortable with my own racial kind of identity and heritage, that's not creating safety for my community. That's not very inclusive. That's not creating more safety, actually. And so it's this continual like coming back and embracing, like seeing what parts of myself that I have trouble with, that I have aversion to, that I don't like, that are uncomfortable with, like my kind of anxiety talking about racism, my confusion about how to deal with certain situations that are really hard sometimes, my inability to speak up in certain situations, or my complacency with systemic racism in my communities and in the world. And there's just so many areas about racism that are hard, that I have difficulty showing up for and engaging still for them. And that are difficult, that I'm uncomfortable, or I'm having aversion or hating myself. And the beautiful thing with our practice, the Dharma, is that if I can see it, if I can see those places in myself that are unhealed, that are still uncomfortable, confused, or feel powerless or despair, if I can see it, then I can witness it. I can witness that in myself. And if I can witness these things in myself, then I can be tender. Towards that, then I can embrace them. If I can embrace these parts of myself, then I can feel compassionate with them. And compassion kind of like envelop its tentacles, can go and like slowly transform the seeds of suffering that are within me. And then as a group, that whole embracing process gets so much stronger. It gets like we embrace as a community where there's more light exposing, and there's more potential for healing, kind of the source of shame or confusion. And then there's becomes a more kind of strengthening of our own kind of racial identity development. In the group, like what do we do in this group? Well, over the month we'll read a few passages, we'll read like a chapter or two, and we'll do certain reflection exercises. We'll journal about things. We'll journal, for example, about childhood memories. And I remember the first time I was in a white awareness group, or I was invited to journal about times in the past where I had like a racist kind of behavior attitude. And I remember being like, oh, that's really fun. I'm not really racist actually, so this is gonna be kind of hard. And I couldn't really think of anything. In like 20 minutes, I couldn't think of anything. And then because I'm a writer, I remember going home and just letting myself write more and more. And the more I reflected, I was astounded. Oh my God, I uncovered so many stories, really painful stories of my racial bias, my conforming to like kind of racist attitudes, to saying things that were very racist also. And it was very painful to uncover those stories. It was mostly a lot of complacency in the face of people being in difficult places and me not being able to speak about it. And if we have more time, I would share, but that's okay. I think the main thing is that I reflect on this, and being able to bring it up into the light of day, it helps me to embrace my own racial identity and acculturation, and to ask questions about, wow, why did I act like that as a child, or as a high school student, or as an adult? Like, why did I do that? Like, what was I thinking and eating? What was I trying to? What were my needs for belonging? How did that impact me? What kind of work did I leave for another time that I couldn't do at that moment? What can I embrace now? And again, it's that embrace, and it's compassion, to be compassionate with the sources of that are unhealed. And then we come together and we share about these experiences with each other in order to kind of further the composting fermentation. Yeah, I'd like to, there's one last important thing. Yeah, I think it's just that, like, if there's interest here to start a wide awareness group or a racial affinity group, we really welcome the dialogue and to share. And again, it's this question: if not me, then who? If I'm not doing it, then how? If I can't embrace it within myself on a deep level, then how can I really expect for this transformation and healing to happen in the world, which we all want so deeply? Thank you so much for listening and for being with us and learning together. Thank you.